This is Jacqueline Boissonneau presenting my independent research project. I researched the beginnings of art therapy for children and its pioneers. The term art therapy was coined by British artist Adrian Hill in 1942. However, the practice of making art for therapeutic and healing purposes could arguably date back to the beginnings of human history. It wasn't until the 1940s in both Europe and America that art therapy became a defined profession. Before that, physicians like Rush and Pinnell contributed to the rise of what is known as moral treatment around the 1790s, which was humane treatment for people with mental illnesses. Moral treatment was first opposed, but by the mid-19th century was used by most. Along with Freud, Criss, and other psychoanalysts, theories were beginning to develop about what could be interpreted and understood about adults with mental illnesses through the production or creation of art. From there, art therapy was born as a means of psychotherapy that used art and the creative process in conjunction with talk for treatment. For children, the end of the Victorian era allowed for them to be seen not just as miniature adults. In the late 1880s and early 1900s, Freud's theories in psychology were being published and received much approval. Around the 1880s in America, also the child study movement was taking place, led by psychologist G. Stanley Hall. The development of children, both mental and physical, was being researched at this time. The progressive movement highlighted the virtues of art as a means to promote self-expression, and the therapeutic aspects of art education were for many accepted into the public school and progressive school curriculum. Margaret Naumburg, born in 1890, died in 1983, was a psychologist, educator, author, and artist who is attributed with introducing art as a primary means for therapy in the 1940s. She was not alone in her research and developments in art theory, but unique in that she used art as the primary role in therapy, not just as a tool, as other psychologists did at the time. She developed an approach she named dynamically oriented art therapy, a theory based on the idea that humans' thoughts and feelings come from the unconscious and that these thoughts and feelings cannot be tapped into or released by words, but by images. Before becoming an art therapist, she first was an educator who opened the Walden School, a private day school in New York City. The Walden School was the pioneer of progressive education in 1914. The curriculum emphasized the visual and performing arts. Students' needs were met based on personal and individual interests, motivation, and self-expression. Florence Kane, born in 1882, died in 1952, was Margaret Naumburg's older sister. She was an art therapist, progressive art educator, and author. In 1902, Margaret invited Florence to teach at the Walden School. In addition, she lectured on her theories on art education and taught art privately in her home. Kane emphasized self-discovery. She wanted her students and clients to find their own artistic voice through emotional creativity. She created combating techniques for blocking and stereotypes by enabling the relaxation of defenses and encouraging whole-body movements while drawing. Kane researched extensively children's cognitive abilities at various stages in their life and used this, along with her personal experiences and current psychoanalysts, to develop her teaching and therapeutic methods. Victor Lowenfeld, born in 1903, died in 1960, was a professor of art education and a very influential figure on modern art education. In 1947, his book Creative and Mental Growth was published and became a very significant text for art educators. Lowenfeld believed that through children's art, growth, emotional, intellectual, social, physical, and aesthetic could be determined. He also developed theories of artistic development in children, including stages of child art. Lowenfeld used art to strengthen the child's sense of identity, especially for handicapped children. He used art to create a feeling of belonging and an understanding of who they were and what they could do. Edith Kramer, born in 1916, died in 2014, was an artist, author, and art therapist. Unlike Naumburg, who promoted art in therapy, Kramer believed in the idea of art as therapy and the creative process itself being therapeutic. Kramer referred to herself as a psychologically informed art educator. Kramer was a follower of Freud and his concept of sublimation, which is a type of defense mechanism which channels unwanted feelings into socially acceptable actions or behaviors. She emphasized that the art product is essential for understanding and the creative process, or the making of art is the therapy. She also emphasized the importance of the art-making process culminating with the finished product. These educators have profoundly influenced not only child art therapy but art education. Probably the most important discovery for both education and therapy was that children's art develops in a distinctive and predictable sequence. This discovery blossomed into an understanding that children do not have to make art in an adult-like way. physically or conceptually, which we know now is impossible and contrary to natural development. Child art is a unique part of development and, for the most part, left alone in order for the process or stages of growth to develop naturally. Although many see connecting art therapy and art education as problematic, they have maintained similar goals in that they both promote proper development, maturing, order. Research has led to accepted knowledge that there are therapeutic aspects to art education. Even in an art class with normal children, important therapeutic aspects can occur: reflection, self discovery, pride, self worth, and social emotional development. Independence in both product and process occurs in art education. Today, there continues to be research and literature that promote the therapeutic aspects of art in the classroom. Perhaps art education has provided at least a framework for art therapy and therapists. And art therapy has also led to a deeper understanding and appreciation of the role of art in children's